10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CompetitionPlus.com Power Hour Tuesday night. Once again, yours truly, Lee Craft, aka the Monday Morning Racer. And this episode, Mr. Bland is along for the ride. Dujanay Bland, you can catch him on the Not Bland Show, Facebook, YouTube, and beyond. Follow some great content that he puts out, certainly following NHRA drag racing, but also the world of NFL and beyond. Dujanay, love what you're doing, and we all love what we're seeing down there in Florida. Nitro has been spent.
Yeah, it's about time, right? We've been talking about it for so long, and here we are. It's the week of, and people are excited.
Certainly, they are excited, and we're going to delay no longer, get to our first guest for the evening, Mr. Justin Ashley, one of the best drivers in Top Fuel currently, and someone who will be one of the top dogs for many years to come. He is certainly an all-star himself and certainly deserves to be in that pro shootout. A lot of changes for him in this preseason, off-season time as we look forward to this event and the NHRA Mission Drag Racing Series 2024 season. So, after this word from Weldon High Performance, we're going to get one high-performing individual in Mr. Justin Ashley here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. And certainly an all-star in every shape, form, and fashion. Justin Ashley, thanks once again, man, for being here on the show. Always good to have you swing by. How is it in Florida these days?
It's beautiful. It's like the first day of school, guys, right? When you get to the racetrack and you smell that nitro for the first time in a few months. So it's been great. Today was the first day of testing, and we had felt like every car out there, right? Funny Cars, Top Fuels, and a bunch of pro stockers out there as well. They're doing a really good job with the facility, a really good job with the track surface itself. So things are really good in here in Bradenton, and we're just excited to get the season kicked off.
Nice. Man, those SCAG colors look good on you, bro. How's everything feeling with that? It's a little bit of a change. And you know how change sometimes it takes a little bit to get used to everyone. But how have they kind of brought you in and kind of made you feel at home?
Yeah, we're one big family, and that's really all that we could ask for. So normally there's a bit of a transition period when there's a certain change or something like this happens. But I'll just be honest with you, there really hasn't been that much of a transition period because Randy, Maria, Scott, and the whole Metalcraft of Mayville SCAG Power Equipment team just did an awesome job. And really, when we met for the first time, it was clear that our visions and our goals aligned with each other. It was people first. For them, it was dealer first, and making sure that we have a successful program both on and off the racetrack. And I think that's what we're going to have. I haven't had this much peace of mind going into season probably in my entire career. And to be able to do it and be able to do it and represent such a large company like Skag Power Equipment, and to be able to do it with the existing team, with Mike Green, with Tommy DeLago, with Dustin Davis, and the rest of the personnel that we have, it just doesn't get any better than that. So I am just chopping at the bit to officially kick things off.
Man, the program certainly looks good. Skag, Phillips, Mac Tools, Lucas, everyone involved, Cato there. You have continued to gain partners, but you have continued to keep now some long-standing partners. You going into another season full-time in NHRA competition. What's the helmet going to look like? We're going to go full Tiger theme with this thing, switch it up a little bit, look like Bengals, maybe give yourself an opportunity to start pulling for the Jets, or what, man?
I guess this is my opportunity to move myself away from the Jets, huh? No, it's going to be full cat's eye gold with Skag Power Equipment on the helmet, making sure that we can represent them in the best light possible, both on and off the racetrack. My helmet, I'm hoping, will look good, and it's from Impact, so I know it's going to look good, but it will not look as good as the beards that you guys have right now. I mean, I'm highly intimidated just coming onto the show, just looking at your facial hair, but I'm going to do the very best that I can to answer some of these questions.
Yeah, had to get into it. I thank my guy here, Lee, for encouraging it. So it's been a task to get this thing going for Gainesville. You talked about a peace of mind, though, and when you have something, when you go into something and you're at peace with it, you look at the record you had last year, 40-15. This peace of mind is dangerous because you've done it every regular season, dominated, but this is really something that could help you guys on the back end when it matters in playoff time.
Oh, it certainly is. And that's when the best of the best step up. That's when the best teams step up. And we want to put ourselves in a position to win the championship. And we've done that the last few years. We've built such a great foundation. The guys have done such a great job on the team of putting ourselves in that position and just coming oh so close. But now we really have the resources, the stability, the consistency, the parts and pieces that we need to be successful and put ourselves over the edge and win that championship. And ultimately, we expect to win. That's the goal. We expect to win each and every race, but we also have an understanding of how good the competition is. Guys, in 2023, I thought Top Fuel was going to be better than ever before, and it was. Now, looking ahead at the field in 2024, it really is going to be incredible. You are going to see final round matchups all the way through from first round on Sunday to the final round itself on Sunday. So it's going to be really tough just to even work yourself into the countdown, into the top 10, let alone win a championship. But ultimately, that's the goal. And, for our Skag Power Equipment, Toyota Phillips Connect team, that's what we'll keep doing. We'll keep working on raising the bar for ourselves and setting the bar higher and higher. And hopefully we can accomplish all that we want to.
It's certainly going to be more of a challenge to accomplish out there in Top Fuel this year. It is absolutely insane what we have been getting in this off season of what we're going to have full time. Sean Reed coming back with what we know is going to be a stellar program. And then you have Billy Torrance saying he's going to go full time this year, a second Capco car out there. And then heavy hitters in the part-time scenario that when they roll on the property, it is certainly a concern for anyone that competes. Tony Stewart's going to be out there, but NHRA is not kicking off this weekend with the Gator Nationals. We have an immense race ahead of us where all of you that are superstars, all-stars, professionals at the highest level of this sport are going to duke it out for some of the biggest checks ever for Top Fuel, Funny Car, and Pro Stock. Justin Ashley, you are a part of that and have become a part of that deservedly so. And for a young man, for you to be considered an all-star, a superstar, professional at the highest level, Your thoughts on your career thus far, man?
I feel very blessed, to be honest with you, Lee. It's been a journey over these last few years, but right now I get to live my dream. I get to be a professional race car driver for a living. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by some really, really good people. I mean, everybody from the personnel that we have working on the car to some great sponsors dating all the way back to Chip Lofton and strutmasters.com to my family and my friends off the racetrack. So I'm really proud. It's very humbling to be a part of this awesome group. You're able to line up to, next to guys like Andron Brown, next to guys like Tony Schumacher, now Tony Stewart, for this truly amazing pro superstar shootout. So it's been an incredible journey. I'm definitely humbled to be in this position. I'm definitely grateful to be in this position. I feel a little funny, to be honest with you, because I'm only a representative. I'm a representative of Skag Power Equipment and some incredible organization and great team that we have. So I'm the one who gets to have fun and sit in there and drive the race car for a living and enjoy doing it. But, there's so much that just goes into it off the racetrack to put ourselves in a position to do just that. So I'm really proud. I'm excited about it. And I cannot wait to get out there beginning Thursday and officially start the race and race for that big purse. $250,000 is a lot of money. There's a lot of expectations, a lot of pressure, but that's how we like it.
Now, I know we have some of the best in the business out there, but what are you guys? What are your thought process? What is your team thought process? And really trying to go out and kind of putting the pressure on the on the competition, have them come up to the starting line and be concerned about you and whether they need to beat you or not, because your car is just that darn good.
Yeah, I think it's a little different, especially this weekend, because it's twofold. It's testing, and by the time the weekend's over, we want to make sure that we're ready for the rest of the NHRA season. But then the other part of it is we want to win this race, and we want to win it bad. And I think that the way that we're going to do that and the way that we're going to make other people think about us and trying to beat us is really by focusing on ourselves and being the very best version that we can be. Different teams, different drivers have different approaches, but our approach, top to bottom, and it starts with leadership, has always been the same. We are going to be the best version of ourselves that we are going to be. We're going to race the racetrack, because this isn't like football, where you can't really study the opposing team's defense and run plays accordingly. There's certainly a lot of strategy that goes into it, but ultimately there's heavy hitters each and every time down the racetrack, and we're just going to go as quick and as fast as we can and essentially race the lane, the right lane or the left lane, and cut the very best light that we can and try and keep the car in the groove and see if the wind light comes on. So I think that's ultimately going to give us the best chance, the best opportunity to win is to focus on incrementally making progress and continuing to run faster and faster based on the information and the data that we have, and just trying to stay within ourselves.
So, Drag Racing Mayhem's asking concerning Bradenton, the facility, your thoughts on it. When he puts it and frames it this way, it being a smaller venue, does that seem a bit more intimidating? What's your thoughts on Bradenton running a fuel car there?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's different. I've never been there before. I don't know how many other pro drivers have been there before, but it's pretty much new to all of us. All I can say is this. I was there yesterday, right, getting fitted in the car and all that, but we made our first laps down the racetrack today, and I think that they're doing an awesome job with the facility. I think the facility has been great, and the track surface has been great. I know that they ran some pro mods there in weeks past, and they ran really fast, but Nitro is a completely different animal, and you saw some really, really good, fast numbers today, and that's because of the weather, but it's also because of the track surface. I mean, if the track surface was not there, it would not be good. People would be struggling to get up and down the racetrack, and that wasn't the case at all. You saw a lot of really fast, really quality runs out there today, and I expect that to continue throughout the week. So I'm really impressed with Bradenton, impressed with the whole facility, impressed with the racetrack, and really thankful for the job that Pro has done, really setting up this event in conjunction with Skag Power Equipment and Drag Illustrated. They really went above and beyond to make sure that this is a show. And I really feel good about that, and I feel like it's going to be that way, and I'm excited to see this thing through. But that's a good question. But so far, so good. Bradenton's been awesome.
Well, it has certainly yielded some spectacular times already. Saw on a clip Brittany Force 368 to the 1,000-foot mark. I mean, certainly that's not slacking, not lacking in any shape, form, or fashion of any other track out there on the NHRA circuit for what Braden's been able to put up. And we know that it can hold some fast and quick times with what did happen there in testing with the door cars of the fastest and quickest time ever for something in the quarter mile with doors. Very impressive. This event, Justin, with its chip draw, qualifying is going to be a bit different. It's run on Friday. It's going to be, and Saturday. It's not rolling into Sunday. It's at a smaller venue, Epping-esque, if you will, to some extent, size-wise. Do you think this is, as many have been stating, a movement in the making, an opportunity to showcase that things within the sport can be done a little bit differently, and that differently done is a positive thing?
I think so. And I think it's important to keep in mind that sometimes there's this narrative out there that it's NHRA versus pro. And that's not the case at all. We're all big NHRA fans. We want to see NHRA become the biggest and best and brightest sport in the world. And to all of us, it already is. But we want to see the whole community, the whole drag racing community, become bigger and better. And I think that this is a stepping stone toward that. I think that we can all learn a lot from each other. And I think that this weekend will be a great test for that. Like you said, they're doing a lot of different things. The race is Thursday through Saturday. And then just looking at the schedule, I think they have 2 or 3, maybe even 4 different concerts throughout the weekend. They have 3 runs on Friday. They have several different autograph sessions throughout the weekend. So they are making this a spectacle. They are making it a show in addition to the actual racing that happens on the racetrack. And I do hope that as a community, we can learn and grow from this experience. And I think NHRA, I think Pro, I think we continue to work collectively as a group to make the sport great and bigger and better in the way that we want to see it. So, yeah, I definitely think there'll be a lot of things that we can learn and take from the weekend and hopefully apply in a positive way moving forward.
I thought that was good because as we look back, and me being a little older, at the glory days of what we remember, I believe right now we're at the cusp of creating something even bigger and better. And I kind of look at this as the UFL and the NFL. UFL is needed very much so when you look at the trenches of the NFL. Not a lot of depth there, not a lot of depth at quarterback. You look at this particular event here, it's about reaching a different audience, a younger audience that is needed. And then not only attracting them to this event, but now showing what you guys can do and then translating that over to the NHRA. How important is that for you to this weekend, with every fan, with everyone coming there, to showcase yourself and to encourage these folks to in a few weeks, hit up to Gainesville and let's start the season off with a bang?
It's huge. It's a great way to kick off the year and meet some of these people. I'm curious to meet some of these fans and hear their thoughts on it, because ultimately it's about them. NHRA drag racing itself is a special sport. It's built on the people. It's built on the fans, the sensory experience, and the all-access pit pass type of event that it really is throughout the entirety of the year. So I'm excited to meet with these fans, and yeah, it is super critical to spend as much time with them as we can. Not only myself, not only the Richards brothers and the Wilkerson team, but all of the teams out here. And we all know that that's a responsibility of ours, and it will always be a responsibility of ours. But I'm curious to hear their thoughts and how they feel about the race and compare. And it's always important to hear from them and hear their opinions. And we can certainly learn a lot from them and what their experience, because ultimately this is an entertainment business and it's our job to put on a good show. So we'll find out. Maybe this is the first drag racing event a lot of these people are going to. Maybe they're in a certain age demographic. Maybe they're younger, maybe they're older, who knows? But I'm excited to learn a little bit more about them. First timers, guys who are experienced. I think we'll have a little bit of everything, but it's certainly going to be different. And I'm excited, man. Beginning Thursday, I just can't wait to see the gates open and start to see these fans come through and experience something a little bit different, experience drag racing that we've seen before, but in a little bit of a different atmosphere and a little bit of a different light.
Dujanay, to your point, the XFL camera angles were out on that field that to this day the NFL uses.
Yeah.
So, having an event like this can certainly move the needle. It can put eyeballs through a different lens, if you will, to change things up for the future. I think we're going to get that down with this Skag Pro shootout presented by Johnson Horsepower Garage in Bradenton Motorsports Park. Justin, $250,000 to the winner in Top Fuel. Does that size of a paycheck for winning make sense for Top Fuel at the end of the day? Does it, in fact, going 4,000 feet to a win, actually less with it being an 8-car field, does it all compute? Is that what it should be, is what I'm asking.
See the smile on my face? Yeah, man, that's what it should be. I think that's great. This is a big payout. I don't know if this is the biggest payout in drag racing history. It's certainly got to be up there if it's not the biggest payout.
Yeah.
It's the biggest payout professionally, I think, ever. It's incredible, $250,000 on the line. But yeah, it's expensive to run these cars. It really is expensive. And to have a $250,000 payout, yeah, I certainly think that's accurate. I certainly think that's a proper representation, and it just costs a lot of money to run these cars. So it adds a lot of excitement. It adds a lot of pressure. It adds a lot of expectations for everybody. But when you're racing, right, you're racing for that trophy. There's nothing better. You want to walk away with a Wally. But then at the end of the day, to walk away with a big check certainly doesn't hurt either. So that's extra added motivation that we can take and we can use to put back into the team and help to make sure that we have a successful season throughout the entirety of the year. So just to be racing in this event is a privilege. Just to be racing in this event is an honor. We're happy to have been invited here, but now that we are here, we want to make sure that we take full advantage of the opportunity and walk away with that big check, man. To be able to race for that kind of purse, it's just amazing.
Indeed. Big time stuff. I know you're looking forward to it. How's the crew taking all of this in as you guys get close?
Yeah, what's their cut of $250,000 if they win? There's usually bonuses if you win, from what I understand. I mean, this has got to have a bigger piece of the pie or something.
There is a bigger piece of the pie. So we have a bonus. We do have a bonus structure in place. I do not know the specific details of that, but I do know that if we win that $250,000, I am sure that it will be good for everybody. That much I can tell you. So they're taking it good. I mean, they love this. What's not to love? I mean, for them, right? I was talking to them earlier in the day, and it's like, how do you guys feel? They're like, it's time, right? Sometimes there just comes a point in time. Now we're in the beginning of February. You've been working day in and day out at the shop to be able to put yourself in a position to race successfully. Now it's like, okay, let's go out there. Let's see what we got. Let's go out there. Let's have some fun. Let's prove it. Let's try and throw down. And this is the first chance to be able to do that. So they feel great about it. I'm sure that I know that they love the money aspect of it too. So that'll be exciting. So we'll find out where that money goes. But for right now, we're just focused on winning. We just want to turn on win lights and find a way to put the Skag Power Equipment Top Fuel Dragster right into the winner's circle for Randy and the whole Metalcraft of Mayville family.
Justin, we know you're an all-star and you are going to show out in the shootout down there in Bradenton. Thank you for your time. And look, man, you got Skag on the side of your car. Go win this Skag event.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a great night. Enjoy talking to Wes, too. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Justin Ashley, we know that he is going to be a top contender out there this weekend and throughout the entirety of the NHRA 2024 season. Dujanay, you could say that in competition, he is certainly going to be a plus. And if you need the right parts and pieces to give yourself a plus in competition, well, it's Competition Products. That is what you need. A word from them. Will be back waiting on Mr. Buck. Chat with him about this weekend once again.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S.
Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away.
Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Well, Mr. Bland, we started the show with the countdown and then rolled right into a peak pit note of, I assume, the great Les Mayhew doing some filming right there at the starting line, and it had in focus Josh Hart in his top fueler. Well, Bobby Bennett sent also a photo. I'm always asking Josh, what's the fire suit going to look like? Because he came out with that beautiful white R&L Carriers fire suit, then he went complete black. Well, he has gone like high fluorescent green this year. Look at this thing. You're going to see him from the cockpit glow. The track doesn't need lights at this point.
I like it. That's great. I like the loudness of it. That's kind of my style. That's clean.
It is clean. It is clean. And I imagine he's going to be able to keep it cleaner than that white fire suit. He had it for all of like 5 minutes and then had something on it, and it was done. It was over. But Josh Hart certainly hoping that he has a stellar year this year. The competition in Top Fuel is going to be absolutely insane. I know that we hear of this person going full-time, this person going full-time. You have those that we knew were going to be full-time. Right. And then you have the part-timers, such as a TJ Zizzo and the Pat Dakin cars with Massey Drive-In. You have Doug Foley out there, Trip Tatum has thrown his hat in the ring for the Gator Nationals 2 years ago, the event winner of that race, and oftentimes helped and tuned with in conjunction of the Capital Boys in Torrance. So the field is stacked like it has never, frankly, been, in my opinion, in Top Fuel.
I agree. We've talked talked about it. We've looked back at history, but I don't think we have had a Top Fuel Eliminator class as stout as this one. And I'm telling you, if I'm looking to get in a car, I mean, even though I didn't want to drive a funny car, I'd drive a funny car. It's too many people in Top Fuel, and I'm like, where is my opportunity? It's so many guys in there. And then, like you brought out Doug Foley, TJ Zizzo, those guys don't come out there and get to the starting line and do a second burnout. You got to be prepared, and you got to have your stuff ready to go A to B, because if you don't and you slip up, they're going to be right there to get you. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be, some really tense moments on that last day of qualifying of who's getting in and who's going home.
It is certainly going to be tense. 368 for Brittany. It was 336 miles per hour south of Tampa. They are probably experiencing Richter scale movement, unlike they are used to down there with nitromethane pounding the ground at that quick of time and that fast of speed. 336 miles per hour, 368 in testing.
Insane.
On a track that they haven't been on in years. Because, the history of Bradenton Motorsports Park, the Snowbirds at one time did have fuel come and race in at least an exhibition type format, if not, full-blown competition and testing. So it's not something that they have never seen, but it has been a long time for this track to see nitro. And congratulations to Victor Alvarez and the hard work that they have put in to continue to bring this venue to the forefront of tracks and really use their calendar to their advantage. When everyone else is slowing down, well, they pick it up and they step into the limelight, and that's smart.
Yeah, very much so. I think about everything that's being done here, and what a way to elevate this sport, to take it to new heights. It's got people buzzing. The thing about it is it's like getting into the candy store and seeing all the great stuff that you can buy. You get a little bit of it, and once you taste it, you're like, man, I can't wait for this next one to come up. So it is going to be, this is huge for Gainesville. I'm looking forward to it and not looking forward to it as a media member, because that might mean I might get stuck in traffic, even though I'm extremely early. But you know what? That's great for our sport.
It is great for our sport. And a lot of exposure already with this event. And I find it interesting, a big name brand out there in the YouTube world and pop culture, Cletus McFarland.
Yeah.
Partnership and connection, Clay Milliken, going into this race. So, because he's right next door with the Freedom Factory and has got some ownership into Bradenton Motorsports Park, from what I understand. So you've got exposure there. You're going to have it through Flow. You've got it across the board, and the hype's real on this one.
It is. It's big when they take a Top Fuel dragster and put it on a dyno.
I want the numbers. I
want the numbers too. That was absolutely insane. Big shout out to Cletus though. What he does for the sport of drag racing is amazing, and just for the sport of racing, period. But that right there, that was some stuff to see. You guys got to check that out.
I cannot wait to see all of that. And then I think of, here recently, I believe it was the Austins, the young Austin with the team with the actual Ford configuration nitro motor.
Yeah,
they usually race the Heritage Series pedal clutch scenario type car. They put it on a hub dyno and dynoed a nitro methane burning funny car, and the cackle with the way it's muffled through and the dyno setting and scenario, it is absolutely wild for sure. That was, just insane that they would do that indoors. No telling what could have happened, but it went just fine. Hadn't seen the numbers yet. I wanted to know the numbers. Well, we've got Mr. Wes Buck in the green room. Looking forward to chatting with him. Again, I chatted with him last week on my Between the Slicks Thursday morning. We've got him here on the Power Hour. I know he's been posting some things already. That one, Nitro's back there in Bradenton Motorsports Park, and things are being erected as we speak for the epicness that is going to go down with and for this pro shootout. I'll say this, it's going to be a peak moment down there in Florida.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Wes Buck, long time no see, man.
Yeah, man. It's been like, 24 hours?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of 24 hours, are you tired yet? Has it feel like you've put in a full 24 hours of work already and not been down there that long?
I told my guys just this evening, we had our little end of the night meal, and we were sitting around and we were kind of, I don't know what's the word. It's this weird feeling of the ball's in the air. Does that make sense? And it's and you put so much time and energy and effort into getting your fingers on the laces right, getting the ball position right, getting your arm cocked back a little bit more. And this is that moment of letting it go. And it's a very uncomfortable feeling in some regards, but we found ourselves today going this is done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, going through lists. And, I'm proud in this moment, perhaps more so we've got one day of testing under our belts at this point. There's still plenty of event to go, but in this very moment, I got to be honest, it's hard not to get choked up or emotional about it, because we've put in the time. I told my team, they deserve to not have any problems. They deserve for everything to go according to plan, because they have done, my dad used to always say it's the 7 Ps, right? Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. And I told my team, we can rest assured tonight that we have done the prior proper planning. And I got to tell you guys, this, like, to crack a tire today, finally, it felt like such a moment for me personally, and I think for everybody that's been involved in this, because it's been these things are titanic undertakings. And so often, you know, so much gets caught up about what the purse is and what this is, and everybody starts doing their own, you know, napkin math and figuring this out. But, like, to be honest, you know, with these events, my experience, what I typically tell people is your purse is about a third of the total expense. You know, like, that's typically how it breaks down. So I can't stress enough, like, the amount of energy and resources that have gone into creating not all of what you've seen, because we're not done yet. We actually have a tremendous amount of construction planned for tomorrow as well. We're going to have probably our biggest day of construction tomorrow. But it was like, to look at it all and see it come together, and all the partners that have contributed to this, and all the, you know, there's this cliche that your network determines your net worth. And it's really true, because when I look at what came together today in day one of the SCAG Power Equipment Pro Superstar Shootout, I really see just this. It's a connecting of the dots. It's everybody leveraging their own personal networks, their own personal resources. And here we are, man. It's but I mean, long way to tell you that I'm definitely worn out. Everybody's worn out, but these are the moments we live for, Lee. Like, to be honest, this is what gets me out of bed, is these moments. And there's nothing like throwing a banger party, right? Like, it's just when everybody's there and you're walking through the staging lanes and you're seeing the smiles and you're feeling the vibe and you're hearing the music, and you just know that something special is happening. And I certainly feel like that's the case today.
Well, Wes, finally, it's nice to finally meet you. I respect your game. I really like what you do as far as in the sport of drag racing. You really are one of the pioneers of this sport. I talked to Eddie Craywick, and I see the question there in the chat there. Could you kind of explain to those who are watching why Pro Stock Motorcycle was not involved? And was that a thing of just couldn't come to an agreement, or they just could not get enough teams involved to be able to spend the money to be involved?
Yeah, actually, neither of those. It's really rooted in the fact that our program is built. This event is a partnership with the Professional Racer Owner Organization, and the motorcycle racers, the Pro Stock motorcycles inside the NHRA, have not historically been a part of pro. They have their own kind of union that they've put together. I think you probably remember a few years ago, there was a bunch of hubbub about not having a sponsor for the Pro Stock Motorcycle Clash out on the West Coast, and they were scrambling around, and the group of racers got together and they secured it. They kind of have their own little union that they operate within. And to be honest, it goes back to that network. The network that I was dealing with was the PRO group, which is Top Fuel, Funny Car, and Pro Stock, right? And we have to be very mindful of one of our many objectives with this event is to bolster the value proposition that is provided by being a member of pro. So it is an optional thing to be a member of pro. So there's a couple of ways to go about it. One is to become a full-time touring pro, and that's essentially committing to X amount of races on the NHRA National Event Tour, and you qualify to become a full-time pro member. There's also a part-time pro member opportunity for people that only run limited events. But I knew early on that if one of our goals, which my partner is telling me that they want to drive value and they want to grow the value that they provide via pro, I knew that we needed to make this event largely exclusive to pro members, so that as we move forward and you see all this hype and you see all this buzz, you're going, oh, I need to write that check, or I need to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that I'm a part of pro, so that the next time they throw one of these deals together, my name's on the list to get called. And it's really, I try to remind people a lot that NHRA, like there's this whole narrative that's kind of exists of like us versus them and all that. And that's really not been any of what we want to have happen. That's not on our agenda to create division. I want Drag Illustrated and myself to serve as a galvanizing force in the sport of drag racing. And I know that sometimes the invite only races would seemingly fly in the face of what I'm saying, right? Like, I want to be a galvanizing force, yet here I am doing these invite only races. the invitation concept and that component of our race is really a lot more about commitment than it is exclusivity. I've learned the hard way, and I would say that only if you have been there can you really understand how important it is to get a commitment from your talent. Very few people. I stood at the bottom of the staging lanes in Vandermeer Speedway in 2019 with $100,000 purse to pay, with 11 cars in the staging lanes, with a dozen cars who had promised me they were going to come. Oh, I swear I'm going to be there, Wes. I promise I'm coming. I definitely will be there. And, here we are 4 years later or whatever, and it looks like they're not going to make it, So that said, I knew that going into this event, especially with the caliber of teams that were involved and the other opportunities that they have and the busy lives they lead, I needed solid commitments from them that they would be here and participate in this event, which is why I did invite only, to add an air of exclusivity to what we're doing. But we also charged a substantial entry fee. And there's a lot of kind of misconceptions about how that really works and what the mechanism is. But part of our belief system here is to do these hard things and to do some of these things so we can set an example for others and maybe let people learn from some of the mistakes we've made and some of the trials and tribulations that we've had. And in this day and age, what fans expect and what they get in many other places, it's a guaranteed show, right? There's no chance that you're going to go see your favorite football team and they're not going to come out this weekend, right? They're going to have someone else fill in for them. And I wanted to create an environment like that for drag racing where our fans were going to know for months in advance who was going to be there, if their favorite car was going to be there, or if their favorite driver was going to be there. That was a really important part of this. So that all kind of goes back to just knowing the cast of characters that I was working with. And I would encourage people to recognize that, again, NHRA gets 20 plus swings of the bat a year, and they have for 6 decades. This is our first swing of the bat with this event. I'm very proud. I think we have more than made contact, but everybody has to give us a little bit of time to grow. Right now, I can tell you, if you're on the property at Bradenton Motorsports Park, this place is packed. I mean, you could hardly get another rig on the property right now if you wanted to. So we just had to be mindful of those things, buddy, because I didn't want to get ourselves in a situation where we weren't able to run a concise show. We had more cars than we knew what to do with, or more motorcycles or whatever. And that's really what it boils down to. The door is always open. I'm historically a more the merrier type of person. I definitely, this is no sort of discounting of Pro Stock Motorcycle. It's really of going with the group that came to me to want to put on this event in April of 2023, came to me and said, hey, we saw what happened with the World Series of Pro Mod. Do you think you could do that with Nitro? I said, yes, here we are. And, who knows what the future holds? I'm a big believer. I mean, there's some real characters in the motorcycle racing ranks. I mean, from Larry McBride, in the Nitro bikes, whom I think is an absolute superstar. But of course, Matt and Angie Smith. Oh my goodness. I mean, Gage Herrera, this kid's a star in the making, in my opinion. Eddie Craywick. I mean, I can't say enough about Chase Van Zant. He was in our 30 under 30 this year. I think he's one of the most promising young people in our sport, but we had to start somewhere. So long way to say, there's no personal vendetta. There's no undercurrent of, there's nothing. It's just a simple, you got to start somewhere.
Thank you for explaining that. I kind of knew that. I just wanted you to explain that, and you did that eloquently. And that way the fans get an understanding of what it took for you guys and the reason why you guys did it the way you did. How did it come to Flow? Because I know everybody's like, oh, well, it's on Flow. I don't know. How did this all come to be? I know what I've seen from Flow has been solid. How did this whole marriage come together?
Yeah, man, Flo has been a partner of Drag Illustrated for quite a while now, and it dates back to pre-Flo, to be honest. We first started a working relationship with Flo Racing when they had purchased Speed Video. If you remember speedvideo.com, which was a company founded in our space by James Lawrence, and really elevated the quality of live feeds, introduced a new approach to it where Speed Video was the first person in the drag racing space, or the first company in the drag racing space, at least that I'm aware of, that were paying for broadcast rights. And that's sometimes I don't know that people understand how much money Flow specifically is putting back into the hands of race promoters and track owners. It's really unheard of in our sport. I mean, so many of us are used to spending money, writing checks. I mean, if I had $1 for every invoice or purchase order that I've seen in the last 90 days, I mean, I'd be on an island right now doing this live stream. And it's a real breath of fresh air to have a partner come to the table who says, I want to contribute. I want to be invested in the outcome of this event. I want to spend money. I want to treat this like stick and ball sports are treated. And it's the partnership opportunity that Flow has provided really to everybody in our community. I can't really adequately put, I don't know that I can, in the time that we have allotted, explain the kind of value and the way they're contributing to a new economy in the sport of drag racing. I mean, I got to be honest with you guys, like, it wouldn't have been, I mean, a few years ago, if you told me someone was going to write us a check to broadcast our drag race, I'd have kissed your ass. Like, that ain't happening. You know, no one's going to pay. I mean, isn't it like a big part of like the drag racing story that, you know, the rumor or the word has always been that NHRA pays to be on TV? I mean, that's the highest ranks, the highest level of our sport without question. Right. And if they can't get paid to be on TV, it seems like a foregone conclusion that we're never going to get paid to be on TV. And honestly, that's really what it's rooted in, is some people that are truly committed to our success as much as their own. Flow Racing has been an incredible partner. And, you know, I give them, they take a ton of grief about stuff that are oftentimes completely out of their control. I mean, I bet there's a ton of race fans that are watching this right now that have been to a race and been unable to make a phone call because the service and the signal's not strong enough. Can you imagine trying to broadcast a 1080p live stream, you know, around the world? I mean, it is a very complicated task. I'll tell you, we spent several hours tonight running cables across the facility so that we can accommodate the I don't know even what the technical terms are, but accommodate this 15 person. We have 15 in camera or in pit cameras this weekend. We have variable pit cameras in different pit areas that fans will be able to tune into at their choosing. So to be honest, man, I'm kind of all over the place with this, but I can't really say enough about the partner that Flow has been. For me, there was never an option when this event, when that first conversation happened in April of 2023 at the NHRA 4-Wides in Charlotte, when this whole thing was kind of thrown out there, you know, I immediately said, we've got to do this on Flow. We've got to do this with Flow. And, you know, they have contributed to this event in a significant capacity financially. We are partners in the truest form of the word, and I couldn't be happier. And some of the stuff that we're going to roll out this weekend, I'm just going to spill the beans here. We've got live timing. We've got graphics coming. I mean, forever, to see the elapsed times and speeds, you had to shoot the scoreboards. So your camera operators on the starting line, or one of your stationary cameras along the side of the track, they were tasked with tracking the run and then immediately going to the scoreboard, hoping it quickly gets in focus so that you can provide those round results. Well, going into, to be honest, World Series of Pro Mod and the Pro Superstar Shootout, I told them that I feel like our fan base expects more than that. They definitely deserve more than that. So we have worked tirelessly over the course of the last several months with a slew of people involved in this to be able to pull the data from the timing system and feed it directly into our broadcast so that there is instantaneous reaction times, instantaneous 60 foots displayed on the screen legibly with badass graphic package. And they've just really never said no to me. And if you know me very well, you know that I ask a lot and I will ask some real crazy shit. And I probably sometimes need to hear no. And they don't tell it to me much. So between Courtney Enders, what she's done for Flow and what she's meant for that company, her passion for drag racing, that's what that company lacked, I think, in the years that have passed, is that they're a company that's rooted in track and field, high school wrestling, marching band, and most recently stock car racing. And they just didn't have anybody inside their, not the C-suite necessarily, but they didn't really have anybody inside the building that cared about drag racing. And so now when they bring Courtney Enders into the fold, someone who lives, sleeps, breathes this stuff, there's a newfound energy, there's a newfound passion for the project, and I can't say enough about them. I mean, whenever it comes to the internet, listen, I'm an AT&T Dish Network. That thing breaks all the time. Constantly, I'm having to restart the damn box thing. The control remote doesn't work. Like, in this day and age, you're going to have some technical glitches or whatever, but I still go back. I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands of dollars I have probably spent over the last 20 years chasing drag races all over the country, from the Middle East to all over North America. I mean, we've gone all over. spent ourselves silly trying to go to these races. And I look at the opportunities that exist for our fans today to tune in and watch an entire day of racing and catch every single moment without fail, not have to worry if they're only going to give a little bit of time to your favorite class and they're going to give the bulk of the time to some other class. You're going to get to see it all. And I would tell people that are choking, I think people, and this is just me personally, I look around in the world and I see a lot of folks that'll like choke on a gnat but swallow an elephant, right? And it's like, it's $39 to watch the 3 biggest drag races of the year: World Series of Pro Mod, Lights Out 7, and this weekend, the Pro Superstar Shootout. I mean, I grew up buying Mike Tyson fights and Evander Holyfield fights and UFC fights. So pay-per-view has always been something that I was pretty comfortable with and trained with, and I kind of knew, but I recognize that it's a relatively new thing in the sport of drag racing, but this is the way of the world right now. I mean, I know most people don't buy a typical cable package like we did 20 years ago. They subscribe to Food Network, they subscribe to ESPN, they subscribe to Bravo, they just subscribe to the stuff that they watch. So I think everybody better ready themselves, because this is the future. And for me personally, kind of like a closing salvo on the flow thing, I want to be on the leading edge, right? I want to be on the front side of this technology, and I want to be the ones that committed to live streaming before it was popular and committed to this format before it was maybe popular or where it felt like there were other options. And I'm happy so far.
In the explanations, explain to us this shootout between the funny car and the Top Fuel dragster. What is going on there? Don Schumacher trophy up for grabs, red line jumping up to support it. When, where, why?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's all rooted in the fact that people maybe don't know this, but drag racing is all that I have ever done. I grew up racing every weekend of my life with my dad. Both my uncles raced, and they still do to this day. And I feel strongly that the people that made the tow and spent the tens of thousands of dollars to be here deserve to get to race on race day. I know what it feels like to bring in a bunch of sponsors, to bring in a bunch of guests, and unfortunately DNQ, right? And any drag racer worth his salt or her salt, they've experienced that. I mean, drag racing is one of those sports where you're going to lose way more often than you win. So you have to be prepared for those situations. But when you have a blank sheet of paper and you have the opportunity to kind of do whatever you want, which we do this weekend, we felt it would be important to find a way to make sure that every one of our racers had an opportunity to race in front of a crowd on Saturday and be a part of the show. So we recognize that we're going to take the 8 quickest cars in Top Fuel, the 8 quickest cars in Funny Car, but there's going to be some guys on the outside looking in. I would argue, I mean, the cars that won't qualify this weekend would likely win anywhere else they go. You know, so it was a tough thing for me to swallow personally, knowing that there were going to be some really good cars that don't even unload on Saturday. So we cooked up this concept following along with what we did in 2023 at the Drag Illustrated World Series of Pro Mod. I'm old school door slammer guy, and I love a Chicago style shootout. For those that don't know, this is a brand of drag racing kind of born in the Midwest where you bring all the cars out, and typically it's a way to accelerate a show. So if you need your show to happen quickly, you can do a Chicago style shootout where you basically run every car randomly paired however you want for the first round, and the 2 quickest winners come back and race off for the trophy or for the money or whatever the case may be. So that's exactly what we've got going on with the Don Schumacher Nitro Superstar shootout that's going to take place this weekend. We're going to take the 4 non-qualifiers total in each category in Top Fuel and Funny Car. We'll bring them all up and they'll run right behind a first round of eliminations, and we will bring back the 2 quickest winners. So we'll bring back the quickest Top Fuel car and the quickest Funny Car, and they'll run for the inaugural Don Schumacher Nitro Superstar Trophy presented by Redline Oil on Saturday. And for me, we talked to the group. Chad Head loved the idea. Chad Head, if you don't know Chad Head, he's the general manager of Coletta Motorsports, and what a freaking phenomenal guy that just means business, does what he says he's going to do, works his ever-loving ass off. And he goes, man, I always love that Bristol funny car versus Top Fuel deal. If we could weave that into this, that'd be neat. And we were able to put this deal together, and it's going to be a moment. Like it was fun today looking at runs and trying to figure out how we're going to have to stagger the Christmas tree, because just like the Bristol shootout many moons ago, we will stagger it'll be pro tree. So it'll be all 3 bulbs will go on at the same time, but it will be a stagger start. So we'll probably, if the best, what we'll do is we'll look at the average run in qualifying for Top Fuel and the average run in Funny Car, and we will create a stagger. Probably 0.4 of a second is what I'm thinking it'll be. But yeah, man, that's how that deal came together. Mark Beatty and the gang at Redline Oil. I rang them up, told Mark what I wanted to do, and without even batting an eye, said, whatever you need from us, we're there. We want to be a part of it. We want to, Don Schumacher was a customer of Redline Oil. Like all the champs and the winners, right? And Redline's a longtime partner of Drag Illustrated, great supporter of ours. We're big believers in what they do and the products they create. But so yeah, that's how it came together, man. And it's going to be a cool thing. And I hope the thing that nobody wants to be a part of necessarily is like the B main, in dirt track terminology. So I wanted to be mindful of throwing that out there. I didn't want to call it the second chance race. I didn't want to call it a consolation race. I remember growing up with my dad, we'd go run some shootout or some stick shift bracket race deal, and it'd be like, well, we won the Consi race. And you never really wanted to go home and tell your friends and family that you won the second chance race, right? So I just felt like if we rebranded this and put some sizzle on it, we can minimize the sting that some of these guys are going to feel. And racers are fiercely competitive. They're going to be devastated to not make the field this weekend. But we also know that they deserve to be a part of the show, and I want to do everything we can to make sure they are.
Who's the betting favorites in each class this weekend?
Holy shit, man. Here's the thing. When the cars, have you guys watched the NASCAR docu-series that's on Netflix right now?
Yeah.
It's phenomenal, and it's no surprise. The Formula One, the Drive to Survive series, phenomenal. Full Tilt, the golf one, or Full Swing, or whatever. The golf one's awesome. The tennis one is awesome. But I will admittedly, I don't know that I could name 5 NASCAR drivers, like at least active. I'm definitely not like a stock car circle track racing guy, but I've watched this show and it's phenomenal. It's absolutely incredibly well done. But there was a statement in there that one of the crew chiefs, it was the crew chief for Denny Hamlin. He said they were talking about tech and how stringent they are about tech and NASCAR. And he said this line that I thought was like really, it hit it on the head. When the cars are equal, the drivers are the star. And I'll tell you, this weekend, that situation exists. I mean, there's not a car here. There's no duck. There's no one on the property that's not capable of running the number and doing the job required to win. I look down at our entry list and I see these names, John Force, obviously, but like Steve Torrance, Leah Pruitt, Doug Coletta, Sean Langdon, J.R. Todd. I mean, these are the best to have ever done it. I mean, we have living legends. I think there are 62 world championships spread amongst the 43 drivers that we have entered into the Skag Power Equipment Pro Superstar Shootout. 62 championships. I mean, that's one year for every year the NHRA has been around. These are the best that have ever done this. So early betting favorites, I think it's a toss-up right now. I think we're in a situation with the chip draw. I mean, if the good Lord's willing, and this won't be well received by all, especially those involved, but the best thing that can happen is your number 1 and number 2 qualifier draw each other in the first round, and you get a really dominating car out of the way early, and it kind of opens the door for an underdog story. But I'll tell you guys, I don't think there is a favorite right now. I know across the board, there were some great runs. Brittany Force came off the trailer with a booming like mid 370 at 333, looked damn near effortless, to be honest with you, to the naked eye. That I thought was it was a statement run. I think she was the first car to make a full pull, and it was like, okay, we can go fast here, no problem. While I'm on talking about going fast, huge shout out to Kurt Johnson, Total Venue Concepts, Wade Rich, the whole team at Bradenton Motorsports Park. Between the two operations, TVC and BMP, we've got an army of people. They're at the track right now, scraping as we speak. It took 3-4 days of scraping and preparation just to get the track ready to start prepping for this event. And yeah, man, it's anybody's game out there, man. And I'm excited for that because the door is wide open for a star to be born this weekend.
Wes, before we let you go, just simply give you the floor to the lovers, to the haters, to the competitors, to everyone that's going to be watching. What's Wes' word on this pro shootout?
Well, I said it. I thank you guys, and I just want to say I appreciate your support. It is not lost on me that you guys are choosing to spend your time talking to me and choosing to spend your time talking about the Pro Superstar Shootout and everything that this group of people have been working on for the last several months. So thank you guys. Seriously, I think we need more talking heads. That's not a derogatory term. We need more talking heads in the sport of drag racing. I mean, it takes special people to spend a whatever day this is. I don't know. At 9:30 at night, Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday. Yeah. Tuesday at 9:30 at night for you guys to be putting in work. I hope you know that I appreciate the sport of drag racing appreciates it. And I know that this can be a thankless operation, a thankless gig, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. I'll just tell you that I think first and foremost, I just want to say that the Skag Power Equipment Pro Superstar Shootout presented by Johnson's Horsepower Garage really flies higher than any one type of drag racing. I hope that people can sense our passion for this sport. I hope people can sense that we're doing this for all the right reasons. There's no one involved in this that's trying to make a quick buck. There's no one involved in this that's making enough money to retire. That none of those things are happening. There's a group of people here that are pooling resources, pooling their time and energy to do something that we think needs to be done. Many moons ago, it was asked of us collectively as a group when we announced this race, why? And we keep going back to why not? I do not want to be the type of person that waits until a problem is beyond solving to attempt to fix it. I want to be proactive. I want to be on the front side of this. I want to lead the charge. And I truly believe that drag racing is the great American motorsport. You can't tell me otherwise. Guys came home from the war, found themselves with a world of technical knowledge and mechanical expertise and put it to work tinkering on cars. And a speed contest as pure as the driven snow. Everybody, man, woman, child, young, old, every race, creed, and color has pulled up to a stoplight, looked over at the person in the lane opposing them and said, you know what, not today, buddy. Right? Drag racing is without question the great American motorsport. The best thing that can happen at a NASCAR race, the best thing that can happen at an F1 race, the best thing that can happen at an IndyCar race is a drag race to the checker. That's what they're praying for. The NASCAR gods are praying for two cars to come out of the final turn side by side, headed toward the checker flag. And we, as the sport of drag racing, get to do that shit every weekend. That's all we do. Right. And I just feel strongly that our sport deserves more than it has. When I think about drivers, that some of the championship caliber drivers and incredible personalities that find themselves on the sidelines because they don't have adequate sponsorship support, and some of the really incredible people that exist in our sport today that aren't able to race a full schedule because they don't have the necessary sponsorship. And we've got to take some responsibility for that. We can't just say, oh, these companies aren't spending money like they're used to. No, we have to be nimble. We have to adapt. We have to find ways to provide value, because I tell you, there's a lot of money in the world today. This is an abundant time we're living in. There are companies spending millions and millions and billions of dollars doing various things. And we just have to get ourselves in that conversation. And if we continue to do the exact same thing that we've always done for years and years and years, we may fail, right? I may look like an idiot in 6 days. I don't know, right? But I do know that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. And this weekend is something different. From the moment you roll in the gates and you hear the music playing and you start walking down the staging lanes and you see all these open air pits and you see everything branded and nice, and you see a double-decker VIP structure with bars and big screen TVs, and you see multiple jumbotrons, and you see bands playing throughout the day, and you see food trucks and a vendor village full of different people that are selling their wares and whatnot, and you see racers selling t-shirts out of the back of their trailers. And I mean, this is a different deal. I want this to be a festival of sorts. I want this to be a lifestyle event. And I just hope people know that this is not, because this isn't a nitro, this isn't a pro stock, this isn't it's really not about any one of these individual eliminators. It's about creating a sports entertainment property that is the best representation possible for the sport of drag racing, so that people may come out to see the Vendies on Saturday night, which is a huge up and coming act in the country. They may come out to see them on Saturday night and have never been to a drag race, but they're coming because they're a fan of the Vendies. And if we can show them a good time and introduce them to their sport, I've never brought anyone to the drag strip that said they never wanted to come back. Right. And my goal this weekend is to kind of tear the walls down, let people get to know each other. If you've been following along on Flow, you've seen, I think, 25 produced really nice Road to Bradenton features trying to tell the stories of some of these racers, take you away from the track and show you what their life's like in other places. And I really just want to continue to tear the walls down, let people in, be inclusive, share the stories of these men and women, because there's some incredible people in the pits of every drag strip in America, every drag strip in the world, to be honest. These are places full of stories and incredible characters and aspiring tales, inspirational stories, and they need to be told. And I really don't think there's anything about our on-track product that needs improvement. We've got 300-mile-per-hour cars. We've got it's insane. The spectacle, the sensory experience that is drag racing need not be adjusted. But the context, right, that story is told or that product is presented needs to change. We have to change with the times. We have to evolve. And that's what I really hope that this event is representative of, is an evolution and a real appreciation for the entertainment aspect of our program and of our sport, and recognizing that we have a responsibility to put on a show. We have a responsibility to bring these people in and show them a good time in a reasonable amount of time, and then send them on their merry way. And I couldn't be more proud. I want to take 2 seconds here. It'll be more than that, but Randy and the gang at Skag Power Equipment, I don't know what more can be said about this group of people. Their commitment to the sport of drag racing across the board is honestly hard to put into words. These are not promises. These are not hopes of a good outcome in the future. These are meaningful business transactions. And I just can't say enough about Skag. What they've done, the footprint that they've established in a very short amount of time in drag racing has been incredible to watch. And I'll tell you, I hope people recognize that that's a good sign for everybody, right? I mean, you've got a multi-billion-dollar operation that is saying, here's your evidence that drag racing drives their business, right? I mean, they wouldn't be investing in it if it didn't. And it's a driver for their business. They've recognized that this is a fantastic way to entertain clients, to reward their existing dealers, to grow their dealer base by bringing people out to the track and showing them what they're involved in, the type of things that they're doing. Jason Johnson and Chris, Jackie, the whole team at Johnson's Horsepower Garage. I mean, I was at the track today watching Leah's car, Top Fuel Dragster, wrapped in red with the JHG logo on it. Matt Hagen's funny car wrapped in red with the JHG logo on it. Two Elite Motorsports Pro Stockers in the Elite Motorsports pit area with JHG on the door, and their commitment, their support of this event, I can't say enough about it. They're some of the best people I've ever been around. They love the sport of drag racing. They love the people that exist in this community. And really the list goes from there. I mean, I think about Capco Contractors, Billy and Steve Torrance, Natalie Kay, the whole operation there, some of the best people I've ever been around. And they are willing to take chances. They're willing to try things, and they have been incredible partners. Ford, Toyota, it's crazy, the brands that we're dealing with and the people that have come out to support this. Lupo's on. We have a tremendous sponsor base that has really shown up and shown out in support of this race. And I just want to say, I sat down last night at the hotel and I started texting all my drivers, and I'm texting Brittany Force and, you ready to do this deal? I'm texting Erica. I text Matt Hagen, and he gives me this big story, which he posted on social media about the first time he ever ran at Bradenton. Texting with Bob Taskin, Paul Lee, and all these guys, and seeing, can I get these guys fired up? Can I get them excited? Because that's really what I want, is I want them to own the moment. This is their moment, and it's their time to shine. And I'm expecting to see someone not swing the door open, but kick the door of stardom to open, kick it down, this weekend, because the stage is set for something really special to happen. And I just want to say, like, a huge shout out to Chad Head, Michelle Domagala with Pro, Alan Johnson, Woody Woodruff, Richard Freeman, Tom Buklowski, and the whole team at Project Management One, who's been our partner on all of our big structures that we've built this week. The gang at CompuLink, of course, everybody at BMP, man, Victor Alvarez and the gang down here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. They know how to do it. They're some of the best people to work with, great people, fun loving, doing it for all the right reasons, man. And I just, my team at Drag Illustrated, I think about all these guys. We've come a long way from a chicken coop and a cornfield in Iowa, and that's where Drag Illustrated started. And I think about where the things that are happening now, I can't really say enough about it. And it's all because of incredible people. I'm surrounded by people that are smarter, wiser than I am. And I'm blessed to be a part of it, man. And again, I just want to kind of close this with, I thank you guys for helping us tell our story and providing this platform, because we need it. We need more. And I hope you guys keep up the good work. You're doing the Lord's work. So thank you.
Wes, have a good race down there. And by the way, buddy. JT Hudson says, call me.
Okay. I can't find my laptop.
Uh-oh.
So I came up here to my room to sit down and do this interview with you. And I go to grab my laptop out of my bag and it's not there. And I go, I have no idea where I left this thing. And I still to this moment don't know where I put my life's work. So my laptop's somewhere. I hope someone has it and it's safe. So.
All right. Wes,
thank you guys, man. Appreciate y'all. Take care.
Appreciate you too, man.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
All right. It's going to be an epic race down there.
It is.
In Florida. Nitro burning, pro stock gear jamming, and many other classes. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see it on flowracing.com. There is a monthly subscription option. There is also an annual subscription option. Honestly, I don't know why so many people are shocked. I remember the days of pay-per-view and ordering like WrestleMania.
Yes.
When, I was a teenager and a kid, and it's not a shocking price for, as Wes said, if you get it for this month, you're going to get some of the 3 big races, not just this pro shootout. So go check it out. I hope for the sport of drag racing, this is an event that does some needle moving.
Me too. His passion comes through, and it's infectious. I really hope that the work that they put in really gets the needle moving on the other side of the fence. It's needed. And hopefully we start having throughout our entire, seasons of drag racing that they become basically WWE unscripted. You got it's a bunch of fun. There's stuff going on. There's pyro. There's concerts, and then there's drag racing. That this is going to be real fun to dig into and to watch. I'm really excited about it, and I'm sure the fans are excited about it too. I saw Caleb in the comments, and so there's some history here with Rob Flynn.
Yeah.
Now, Flynn has won when his daughter was born. Now, when Caleb's first son was born, Salinas won. So now Bentley's in the pit mix here for this one. I'm telling you right now, if I'm putting money on it with all that history, I'm betting on Rob Flynn this weekend.
Hey, that's a good bet even without the history, honestly. But yes, there is that family history of Rob Flynn getting it done with the in fuel ranks and tuning with family coming into the world. It's very interesting, and congratulations to Caleb, his wife, the whole entire family there as well, general managers over there at Cruise Petricon Racing. I think I really think someone like Leah Pruitt's going to be gunning for this. This is last one for her for the foreseeable future. I think a John Force is going to be gunning for this type of event. This is a John Force go out there and win it and sun them all type of event.
It is.
And interestingly enough, Erica Enders has had some struggles at big events that Wes has put on. I saw it at the World Door Slammer Nationals, both renditions of it. So maybe this one is the one where she turns it around in these one-off type of events. Florida just isn't good to her in drag racing.
No, I don't know what's up with that at all. Maybe she could turn the tide this weekend.
That's right. Yes, Mighty Mac, Brittany Force, 336 miles per hour to the 1,000-foot mark at a 368 elapsed time. Well, Dujanay, look, I think it's fitting that we've got you stepping in for Darren Williams Jr. on this rendition of the Competition Plus Power Hour. You oftentimes cover NFL with your show and your journalistic efforts. So, who wins the big game Sunday?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I can't bet on Kyle Shanahan. There's too much evidence through the playoffs that Kyle kind of gets in his way. He has a tendency of getting away from what he does, what his offense does best, and that's running the football. It's tried and true over there with Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. That defense that Spags is putting together every week has come in and really wreaked havoc. And if Kyle goes Kyle and gets in his way, it's going to be what you saw last week with the Ravens. They dominated them because basically the Ravens were hell-bent on doing what they don't do best. So I cannot pick the 49ers because Kyle Shanahan has to prove it to me. So I'm going to go with the tried and true. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win in a very, very close game. I think this is a 3-point ball game. It's going to come down right down to the wire, and likely it's going to be Pat Mahomes unless Kyle can prove it to me. It's going to be Pat Mahomes that puts that thing put that team into the Super Bowl winning champions again, and that would be back to back.
I like that pick. I'm going with that pick as well. I'm an Andy Reid fan. Love seeing Andy Reid have so much success recently in his career. I think he's getting another big fat cheeseburger by the end of the night for sure. Dujanay, shout yourself out where people can follow you and the good work you put in.
Well, always at NotBland21 on X, or the artist formerly known as X. Tomorrow, we will be having Camry Caruso in the middle of the show. At the beginning of the show, we will have Lake Lewis. We're going to talk a little Commanders and Super Bowl talk, kind of break it down a little bit more with the X's and O's. You can go over and find me or find the show on YouTube at The Not Bland Show. Please subscribe, hit the bell. We love having you guys over. The participation during the NHRA stuff, the drag racing stuff has been phenomenal. The people who have watched, I really appreciate it. We're trying to do exactly what Wes said, just trying to dig in, do a little something different, and keep promoting this sport we love called drag racing. So tune in tomorrow, 7:00 p.m. Eastern time, and Camry Caruso will be on at 7:30, and we're going to talk to her right before this Pro Superstar Shootout.
Spectacular. That is going to be a good show for sure. Folks, I'm Lee Kraft. This has been the Competition Plus Power Hour on the CompetitionPlus.com platforms. Be sure to like and share, subscribe to the YouTube channel where you will see a lot of great drag racing content, and be sure to swing by CompetitionPlus.com itself, the place that you can believe what you read on the internet for drag racing. For Mr. Dujanay Bland over there, I'm Lee Kraft. This has been the Power Hour. Good night.